Hello, everybody. Welcome. Tuesday. It's supposed to be teaching. We may talk a little bit about dyeing some wool, but for the most part, I am just going to give myself some spinning time. I have not too much to talk about today. It has been a very quiet, anticipatory type week because Thursday's my surgery. And so we're home quarantined because I've had a COVID test and am negative and not allowed to go have the surgery until that's, until I have my surgery. I'm not allowed to go out and about, and even with a mask. So that's their rules. I said I was negative, but technically I haven't actually gone online to check. I just am going by the fact they said if it was positive, they would call me. Now, okay, maybe that's still a possibility, but I don't think so. I shouldn't speak ahead of time, but I'm so sure this is all going to happen and soon, right, that I'm a little, just a little anxious, and focused on that more than a lot of other things. I have been working on rounding up and finding all of the rest of the Shave 'em to Save 'em passport fibers that I want to spin. And I finally have come to the conclusion they can only be in that closet that's back there behind me with that big basket of fiber in front of it. Behind that curtain is fiber. And so I got to move all those boxes out today and get it out. But that's sort of the last on my to-do list, fiber-wise. I have my Roberta set up for this stream, and when I do stream, I plan to just spin on the Roberta over the next 6 weeks, probably, and maybe a little longer. And that's because surgery's on my knee, and treadling, even with one treadle, is not going to work. My Aura is a right foot treadle spinning wheel, and it's my right knee that's getting work done. So I am going to post a little bit of a stream at the front on my channel, and that will tell you that I'm going to be on vacation for at least 2 weeks, and then we'll see how it goes and what I'll do. But one of the things I have worked out is the fact that it still will be streams on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays, because my rehab, if all goes as planned, will be on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's just like a full week, isn't it? So I hope that it goes. Everything else has kind of fallen in place, and I think this is going to also. I have a cool thing to share with you that is totally non-fiber related, but it's I live in the country related, right? And it's just super cool. Can't post pictures here, so I'm going to put a link to the Discord, and I want you to click on that link, go to my Discord, join if you haven't, but click on it and look in the general. And what I have pictures of are mergansers, ducks, just one, actually the male is just there, but the female has been laying eggs in the tree. And the second picture is her clutch of eggs. She's not sitting on it yet. And so every day we see her come. It's just regular as clockwork. In the morning she comes and lays another egg. I don't know how many she's going to lay before she finally sits on it. They won't incubate. They won't start incubating until she sits on it, and they won't hatch until she sits for what we think is around 32 days. So it's really, really been fun because it's right off our porch. Although it's facing away from the porch, we can see it when we drive in and out of our lane, which we won't be doing this next month anyway, but hubby goes out there and very carefully peeks at the nest when there's nobody around, and we're being very cautious about the cat. And really the only thing we can't control is if other wild animals get after the eggs. This is the second time a merganser duck has nested on our property. The other time it was in a tree where they flew up way high into the tree. And that's okay, except for the fact that when the chicks were hatched, they had to push them out of the nest, and it was quite a drop. I suppose maybe they learned to wiggle their wings as they were going down, and what we saw and got pictures of wasn't that process, but the two ducks heading to our back creek with this long string of chicks behind them. This is built on the ground. Her nest, a clutch of eggs, are on the ground, and so she's probably counting on the fact that she can protect them. They are big ducks, and she's probably they're about the size of a goose, really, and she's probably figuring she can protect them. And they will just have to walk out to get to the great outdoors. So, click on the Discord and go and take a look at that. And if you're watching this on video on demand, go to my channel, and you know where you see the About, right? Click on that About, and over on the right hand side there are 3 blue links, and one of them says Discord. Click on that Discord. Join up, join the group, and come see the ducks. Someday, I hope I'll have a picture of the baby. That would be really cool. So let's talk about what I'm going to spin today, and I'm going to talk a little bit here before I go and click on my wheel. What I'm spinning is a blend of fiber made out of 50% Shetland and 50% Corriedale. And this was a blend made by a vendor that I would see almost every fiber fair I went to until she stopped vending a year before the COVID actually hit, so it wasn't related to that. But she is like me, deciding that she wanted to retire and not do that. But anyway, her name, her business name was Dyed in the Wool, and you still probably can see something online under dyedinthewool.biz. So she had this, she raised sheep, or she would buy fleece, one of the two, and she would take the fleeces to a mill, and she had this 50-50 blend made. The Shetland was a dark gray, and the Corriedale was white, and she dyed it with a natural dye called madder. Madder is a root that is used for its color. You can see the fiber right there behind me. It's just a really interesting peachy color. This is because you are seeing the gray of the Shetland. It's giving it that sort of interesting, what color is that? Why does that have a little bit of a brown look to it? Is it a mixture? No, it is over-dyed with the madder root, which is a red dye. And depending on how you process the madder root, how long and how strong and how much you use, you will be able to get a good or a better, deeper red. You're not going to get a red like my shirt, okay? That you're going to have to use other kinds of natural dyes to get that deep a red. Madder has the specific color that has kind of a tan undertone. You just won't get the depth. How do you dye with madder? Well, first of all, I will post a link over here that is a really good explanation of it, but I'll just give you a little bit of explanation because it really is not that complicated. First of all, you're going to have to get madder. Madder can be grown in the garden, but you would harvest the root, okay, in order to get your dye. And so most people just go ahead and buy it from a source of natural dyes. And once you have your madder root, you can chop it up if you want. You can, the more area exposed, the better. So sticking a whole root in there is acceptable, and you might be able to then take that out, dry it out, put it back in, use it more, chop it up. That's the beauty of the organic materials that are roots. I said organic, but it is organic. But the natural dyes that are roots, a lot of times they don't dissolve and disappear into your dye pot. Bark is another one like that. Uh, Black walnuts is another one like that. They can hang around and you can use them multiple times for dye pots if you want to. The madder root is not something I've had actual experience dyeing with. So I'm taking this information from the website that I'm going to put on there. I would like to, but I would have to buy the material, and I have never bought the material to work with it. Probably ought to put that on my to-do list, right? My bucket list, right? For spinning and fiber processing. Anyway, you put your madder root and you cover it with water, and it's cold water, and you just let it sit. You can decide how long you want to let it sit. They say 24 hours is probably your good. You're going to get what you're going to get. And so you go ahead and pour the liquid off. And let me see real quick. I'm going to look at this. Let me see if I can copy a link here. Yeah, there we go. This is where I'm referring to. And so, yes, you add the dye liquid along with the root. I don't think I'd be changing pots, right? I probably would. But what you want to have is a very, very big pot, depending on the amount of fiber. Now, they say 50-50 for the madder root and the fiber. That's high, right? That's to get the most concentrated color. You can go another way and get lighter colors by not doing that. So your madder, you're going to soak in just a small amount of water, just enough to cover it, maybe a little bit more. But your dye pot needs to be have a certain amount of depth, so you add water to it because your fiber needs to be free flowing in there. Now, dyeing the fiber has to be wet, and I did not go into looking into whether, and I would before I would do this, look into whether you should put something on the fiber as well as just wetting it. Okay, so mordant, right? Sometimes a mordant is very, very good, and so they're recommending that it is washed and mordant and wet before you put it in a dye pot, but they don't really say what to mordant with in this site. After you have the madder extracted and you've put water in there, you can put calcium carbonate in there. And I actually think calcium carbonate is a mordant that you can put on the fiber also. I would have to double check that, but I seem to recall that that's a mordant that you can use. And so then you put your wet fiber in. And the thing that's really different is you start with cold water and you bring it up to about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, not boiling at all, right? And just barely, really hand temperature warm. And you simmer at that for 30 minutes. And then you take the temp up to 180 degrees. Still, again, not boiling. So that is a simmer just right under that boil. And that one I probably would check with a thermometer. And you want to hold your fiber at that for 30 to 45 minutes. If you boil your madder, you're going to get a muddy color. That's what it says. So that's why they're doing this very slow, raise the temp, hold it for a while, go up higher, hold it for a while, and after that you're going to treat it like anything. I don't know if the dye pot will exhaust or not, and that's just something as a dyer you can decide whether you want to use more fiber in it. I probably would, depending on whether it looked like the liquid was clear or not. Eventually, you're not going to get anything more out of the madder root. So that's dyeing with madder. And it is a really cool process to dye with natural dyes. The colors just have a depth and aliveness to them that you don't get with your chemical dyes. Your chemical dyes, you get jewel tones, bright, bold, right? And they're very appealing. But the natural dyes are soft and they kind of blend together no matter what natural dye colors you put together. And they all have they go with your natural color wool very well, right? Beyond your white wool. All of them seem to maintain that sense of the sheep. And that's, of course, just dealing with the wool. So that's a little bit about dyeing with madder. And while I'm thinking about it, let me put my Discord link here. Don't forget to go check that out for the pictures of the Merganser ducks and their eggs. All right, let's go to the wheel. Here we go. I got my music going. I may turn it up a little bit later after I'm pretty much done talking, unless somebody comes along and wants to chat. I'm going to make my notes here real quick what I'm doing today. And believe me, I need to make notes. Sun isn't quite so bright. It kind of went under the clouds. When I first was setting up this thing today, before I started streaming, that sunshine coming in my window was just like making me almost disappear. It clouded up as usual in the spring. So this is the Shetland, and as you can see now, it looks very much like it's tan, right? And I'll hold it up here. You can see a little bit more red, but it really is kind of a indescribable peachy color, right? It's just extremely soft. It's super soft. It is going to be next to the neck soft to wear for, you know, scarf, cowl, mittens would feel good, all of that. I did start a little bit here just to see how I wanted to spin it. Just a little too fast. There we go. I have 4 ounces of this, so I'm going to put 2 ounces on each bobbin. And that's maybe the goal for the 2 hours today. We'll see. Seems like it's going to spin up. The Fiber Prep has some neps. I am not bothering to pull them out. It is spinning pretty thin. Well, I said I'm not going to bother, but there is a pretty big one right there. Most of them are just kind of disappearing into the twist. I would say because of the Shetland base, it's spinning pretty thin like this. And between the Shetland and the Corriedale, not having merino in either of the breeds, I don't think Corriedale has a merino background. I maybe misspoke on that. But anyway, it should not puff much. It should maintain this thin. Once I apply the 2 singles, I should have a pretty nice, I am thinking, DK or maybe even sock weight. These would make great socks, with the exception of the fact it's not superwash, and I really very hesitant sometimes about making socks out of 100% wool. But I may make an exception with this. It's pretty neat. It's pretty soft. Pretty unusual color. The other thing that I'm thinking about while I'm thinking about dyeing with natural dyes is most of the time, once you rinse the yarn, there really is no remaining dye on your yarn like there is with the chemical dyes, the acid dyes, because with the acid dyes you get an excess of dye sitting on there, and it's, you know, coating the yarn with that excess dye. The natural dyes have such a limited supply of dye out of your bulk of material that you don't end up with the excess of dye. I don't care when I dye with acid dyes, you know, I don't care how minuscule of a scant teaspoon of whatever of the dye I use, it seems like there's always way more dye in that pot than I expected, and I'm rummaging around trying to find more white fiber that I can dampen and stick into the dye pot to exhaust it. So that doesn't really happen with the natural dyes in my experience. I think once I get this stream done, I am going to be posting it on YouTube, and I am going to change the, well, I'll title it "Talking About Dyeing with Matter," so that at least some people who may be um, searching YouTube can find that little bit of information. This is going to take a while. I, of course, am choosing to use the Roberta, which has the smaller um, bobbins. Turn the music up a little bit. Just because I was thinking I may not get it all done, and it may go into when I'm not going to be wanting to spin on a treadle wheel. I am not really doing a, this is worsted spinning, even though I'm pinching and pulling and providing a pretty big drafting zone. It still is worsted because I am preventing the twist running back into the drafting zone completely without touching the fiber. So this would be considered a worsted spinning. I'm pretty amazed at why doesn't that go away? Oh, shoot. I have a, let's see if I can get this on top of it. No. There it goes. Okay. My volume box thing was sitting on top of my chat. All right. I have decided I don't need to pre-draft this fiber. I played with it a little bit. It is pretty compacted in the ball. These are each 1 ounce balls. But that was just, it was just kind of like tightly wound, and the there is no real compaction to the, it's an excellent dye job as far as that goes. Because, and not pre-drafting helps me provide enough fiber into the drafting zone to continue this thin spinning. Now that sounds funny, but when you want to spin thin, you need a bit more fiber coming into a triangle, so the back of that triangle where it's wider has more fiber, and it narrows down to a point, and that's how you end up spinning thin. This is why, you know, new spinners can't spin thin. They haven't developed the eye for that triangle, but then once they have developed that eye, they have a very hard time going back to spinning the rectangle that you need to spin. And I've just made a rectangle here, right, to spin thicker. And I'm not going to spin thicker. It is thicker a little bit, but you know, I don't want to ruin my yarn. But the point is, if you want to spin thicker, you use a rectangle drafting zone. If you want to spin thinner, you thin it out and make a triangle. Most of the time, only way we explain it is you draft your fiber out, right? We don't really talk about how much fiber is in that drafting zone. This has a natural halo. It's going to be kind of fuzzy looking, which, in spite of being thin, you know, is going to make it look a little thicker. I need to make myself a couple notes here. Talked about one of the things that happens is, you know, I eventually upload these to YouTube. Twitch will keep them on there for a while, and video on demand is there. But I reach a wider audience if I upload it to my YouTube channel, and if I label it right, put the right, what am I trying to say, put the right tags in, then, you know, people can find it if they're looking for information. It's no different than us going in there and searching YouTube for, you know, how to spin silk or anything like that. The more information you put on there, the easier it's going to be for somebody to find your video. So I don't get to uploading, where I was going with that is I don't get to upload those videos today, right? I'm not that current. I usually have 2 or 3 days, and it takes quite a while to do the upload. I usually have 2 or 3 days where I catch a month up, and I am currently caught up till the 1st of March, and so I will be doing that next month over a couple days. Well, I can't remember stuff if I don't write it down on these notes that I keep about the stream. Okay, now it's time to chill. Now I am not going to talk that much. I'm going to listen to the music. I'm going to spin. I'm going to enjoy this little bit of serenity. We have Sirius FM in our car, and I truly wish that was available, license free for streams. I'm sure it's not. I love their channels. And sometimes their spa channel is exactly what I need, right? It's exactly what I need. Just chill. Thought of one more thing I want to do here in the chat. Sorry for the typing.
Feel in no hurry to spin this. This is all I've got of it. It's like any of my pretty fibers, you know. It's like I don't want it to end spinning. Now, when I have 8 ounces or more of a fiber, I'm like, I'm done with this. Let's get it over with. But 4 ounces always leaves me wanting more. I could split this into 3 bobbins, do a 3-ply for sock yarn, but I sure wouldn't get enough yardage for the entire pair. I think I'd rather do knitting something that's I could use a lot of the, use the yardage up without adding anything. Patterns that use around 200 yards, it's just, there's plenty of them. The problem is I don't need that many of those items. They're cowls and hats. Hats maybe, but mittens, hardly ever wear a mitten. So, what do? I guess I pass it on, right? I knit it for somebody else. But can't knit for my mother. She lives where it's 90 degrees a lot of the time. My grandson is not big on wearing wool, understandably. Not many 8-year-old kids are. My daughter makes her own. That was my oh, I don't know what the word is, but since I taught her to make her own, so now, I can't make it for her. Hubby is very hard to knit for. He's just not interested. He wants his 99-cent Walmart acrylic hats. Because he has a reason. Kind of a valid reason. He loses things all the time, so, he doesn't want to lose something I've put that much work into, and I understand that. I am still waiting to hear from Sock Madness. I wouldn't be surprised if, the team information comes out on Thursday and when I'm not home, and the pattern comes out on Friday. I will be home Friday, probably late in the afternoon, not early morning for sure. But that's alright. I'm excited to see what the next pattern's going to be. I haven't even tried to pick yarn, but I do have my sock yarn all right in a bag, all together. The only thing I might have to do is wind a ball, because not all the sock yarn is in a ball. I just have a feeling the first one, is going to be color work. I mean, the qualifier was so challenging. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they'll save the color work for a couple in. A lot of people say they make it through 2 rounds and don't make the 3rd round. There is just a limit to how many socks you can knit, right? in a month and a half. Wisps of hair. I don't think it's fiber. I think it's my hair bugging my nose. Even if I could get this thin enough that the 2-ply would be lace weight, I wouldn't use it for lace, because not real wide open lace, because it's so fuzzy it would fill in those lacy holes. I would use it for a solid, but I'm not sure I would even use it for cabling, other than maybe a few decorative stitches here and there or whatever. The halo would just really not be good for lace or real decorative stitches. This, the carpet looks colder than this, but I'll tell you what, it's gonna blend. I'm dropping the little nubs down on the carpet. It doesn't matter, the sweeper will get them, but not gonna see them. Not like when I splin a bright blue or whatever.
Oh, go away. I don't want to buy followers. I don't know how they can say they have no bands or anything like that. Okay, we're going to start over.
You guys don't need to see that. All I want for Christmas is 200 followers. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's a big chunk. Sometimes the big ones don't want to come out without really disrupting the twist. There's another big one. Catch it ahead of time. I really need to get my trash can near here.
Oh, it is near here. It's just not handy. There we go.
Who's live now? I don't know if you heard the notification. Somebody's live. Or we're posted on Discord. One of the two. I don't rush off to check that kind of stuff. It's there when I want it. That was a big chunk. It's funny, I can tell when I'm getting a big chunk like that, and I really shouldn't let it go through. I keep thinking that it'll flatten out, and it doesn't. And once it gets twisted in there, it's pretty hard to... Little ones that sit on top are fine, but the big ones that get caught in the twist are not. It's not fine. You can even see, if you look real close here, right there, that's a pretty good shot. That right there is, you know, a shortcut. This right here, and see how it's sitting on top? It's the process of pulling and drafting is making it sort of pop up to the top, and you can catch them before. Not all fibers will behave like that. But this one is doing really well that way. Okay. Finger break. We're at an hour. Sorry about that. I am achieving maximum relaxation and therefore getting sleepy. Oh, this rovin's a little patchy here, thick and thin in this particular area. It's almost too thin to spin the way I've been thinning. The way I've been spinning, it was almost too thin right there on the end. Now we're back to the triangle. Looks like I'm not going to have too much trouble fitting the 2 ounces on a bobbin since it's spinning thinner. But spinning at the rate I'm spinning, it looks like I will be spinning just 2 ounces of it today. I didn't think I'd actually ever say it forever, but I'm actually getting warm in my sweater. We're supposed to hit 70 today, although it's going to build up towards some little light rain. We are having a gorgeous stretch of weather. Hubby mowed for the first time yesterday. Oh, that was an interesting sound. We'll see how long this lasts. I make it too chilly, but reminds me of the music in one of the games my husband plays. Okay, I am starting to not get quite enough twist. That will happen as the bobbin gains weight. My twist is adjusted on this spinning wheel with the rheostat knob. Just make it go faster to give more twist. So I have done that. The way I decide that there's not enough twist there is to stop spinning and let it go back on itself. Well, now it does. Now it goes back on itself and makes a pigtail. It didn't before that. It just kind of laid there in a limp single. So there's not enough twist when it does that. There's a certain amount of being aware of your single and what it's spinning up as. It will change as you progress through spinning the fiber. Not because the fiber changes, but because the wheel itself changes. That's really true, very true if you don't treadle consistently with the treadle. Okay. I am officially chilly again. It's just because this window behind me is not real weather tight. It's funny, we think of sweaters as winter weather wear, but truthfully cardigans are not, because the front is open unless you button them up. I tend to wear cardigans all the time in the spring and fall, that in-between weather. But the true winter, when I want to be warm, it's a solid sweater, usually over something else. Okay, first ounce. This is the end of the first ounce. So, because after Oscar Hamilton, after the game, wow, that looks like a normal knee again. This arthritic, misshapen kneecap. Get out of there. If anybody has made it this far in the stream, you just heard me talk to myself. I do this all the time, but I've never done it on stream before this. Uh-huh. Slipping into a woolen spinning here. Don't want to do that because that'll make the yarn get thicker, get aerated and full of air and fluff up. I'm trying to stick to a worsted here. But part of the problem is all the little shortcuts. you're spinning this kind of fiber that has where you have to stop and start and pick stuff out, and you have an electric spinning wheel like this is, it's really nice because you just stop and start, right? You turn the switch on and off, and the bobbin goes. If you are treadling, it is nice to have a wheel that is good about, if you push your foot down, going the direction you were just going, starting back up again with just one little push of your foot, you're on the treadle. Not all wheels are good that way. I have no idea exactly what the mechanics is behind that, why that works better in some wheels than others, but it is definitely something that it's frustrating if you have to not only stop and pick something off your fiber, but then push your bobbin so you get it started. Pushing the bobbin to get it started is a habit that I have because I have spun on older wheels that would not start up, but in truth my R usually will if I think to push the treadle first instead of just pushing the bobbin and making it go. Got some trance mode music going there. Not sure if I want to change it or not. It'll be over with soon enough. Okay, this is where the whole lock didn't get carded very well. It's not real obvious, it's not real thick, but it doesn't do well in a single. Oh, I think that was the end of the page of the music anyway. Let me get another page.
Oh, that was rude. Went back to the beginning. I don't like that. There we go. I am using YouTube.
License-free music today. Mostly because I'm going to upload this to public YouTube. And I have just went through and picked. They have lots of music, but I just went through and picked the starred the chill ones for today, or made a playlist. But it goes page by page, so you hit the end of the page, you gotta go get another page. I didn't show my yarn. I had been spinning a dyed Masham, and it's a real blue-green color, and I finally got it done. Oh, you don't want to see the tag. This is a 2-yard skein, nitty knotty. I love it. And there is 246 yards of a 2-ply. Isn't that pretty? I'm very happy with it. Not sure what I'm going to do with it, but it's not totally completely put on your neck soft kind of thing. But it's not too bad. It's pretty soft. I applied that on Sunday and hadn't shown it on the stream yet. Oh, I was going to move my hook. Maybe I did. I did. Short-term memory. No short-term memory. bump. 2 big bumps. 1 big, 1 little. Yep, it's definitely getting time to stop in a little bit. I'll pretty sure I'll finish up this 2nd ounce. I would like to reach a nice stopping point. But that's about the limit of what I like to spin at a time. 2 hours is,
Without getting up and stretching.
is just a good limit for me. I am not one to be up and down a lot because of my knee, but I also am not one to sit for day on time, day on end, because of my knee also. It's funny how that works. piece of hay there. It came from a sheep. Eating sheep. That didn't come out right. It came from a foraging sheep. That sounds better. I was really looking forward to spinning this. I'm a little disappointed with the stop and start. It's going to happen with a lot of things that I spin, except commercial roving and top, where they pretty much comb the dickens out of it, take everything out, or I'm not real sure. They have chemical ways to process that stuff out of it too. The vegetable matter for sure. You can really see the brown or gray that the Shetland was. I said gray. I think that's what was written on the bag, which is the reason I said it, but you can really see the brown in the bobbin. I can. The glare is a little too strong from the camera light, but you can tell it was not a white wool. The Corriedale was white. And I also hear this rubbing. It's time for some oil. I haven't done that at all today. That also will slow it down, believe it or not. Well, if it's not one thing, it's another. I got oil on my hands from the bottle. I need to wrap that in a paper towel or something. Here we go. I have gotten fidgety. It's a sign of wanting to quit. right. Getting down to the end. Of halfway point, not the end, halfway point. 2 ounces spun. I got a lot of junk in here. Need to move my hook. Building up there. There we go. Alright, so the first 2 ounces is coming to an end. And that is where I am saying it's time for the stream to come to an end. This bobbin will have lots of time to sit until I spin the other one and ply it with it, probably in a couple weeks. Yes, so it's going to be a couple weeks before I'm back on, and I don't know an exact date, but definitely hit the follow button if you're watching this belatedly, and you'll get notification. And when I'm back, we will be spinning again. So until later, I hope you all find some fiber and some time and spin some yarn. See you later.